3 months, 4 countries, and somewhere in between all of that, I still had to put out a podcast every week. This is what actually happened when I tried to run Beyond the Cut from Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Thailand. Here's what I learned. As you guys might know, I just came back from a 3-month trip from Asia, recording podcast episodes, making content, and just seeing the world. I made it a mission to get an episode out every week, regardless of, any problems I had, internet, editing, time. I had to stay consistent. The first thing I do want to talk about is the gear, because you guys probably know this. The gear that you have at home is not the gear you take on the road. Literally, I grabbed what I thought was going to be very, very light and quick equipment. I just wanted to be prepared, and I took all of this. Realistically, everything on this side of the table, all of this, I did not need. I just thought certain things, aesthetics. I had these mics, I had a recorder, I had, cables that I thought would look great. And it does look great, it sounds great, but realistically, traveling from country to country, holy, it was crazy. Getting through security, the weight of everything, it was just a little excessive. And I thought this was like a light setup. But when you start traveling, you start to, understand what you actually need and don't need. And then the weight, I was sweating going from place to place. I remember filming in Korea and walking with my backpack, and I had like these cables, the XLR cables, hanging off my bag. I'm walking like uphill and just drenched. Getting to this episode, sweaty. So briefly, I just want to talk to you guys about what I did use and what I did need versus what I wanted with shooting the remote podcast episodes and the in-person podcast episodes. So all of this is what I actually needed, excluding the camera that I'm shooting on right now and the tripod and my laptop, my MacBook, to edit everything. So that all fit in this bag right here, which was perfect. I had this mic to shoot podcast episodes, I had a field recorder and these mics, but all you really need are these lav mics. I have 2 sets of lav mics, so one to record me and the guest. I brought 2 cameras, one as a backup. I have my 360 camera here, 17 to 70 lens, extra batteries, 1 V-mount battery, headphones, a bunch of SD cards, and a desktop tripod. And realistically, this is all I need. You also need one of these. This is a cam link to hook up the camera to the laptop. I'm probably gonna do an in-depth breakdown, but I just wanted to show you guys briefly what I needed versus what I actually wanted to bring. So I brought all these extra, cages, another V-mount battery, an audio interface, lights that I didn't even use, a magic arm. I really thought I was gonna be making like crazy amount of content, but when you're traveling and you have 0 time, it's just not happening. It's crazy. And you have to be specific about the type of content you're making. I was just recording podcast episodes. I thought I was making movies out there. I was definitely not making movies. So one thing I didn't realize that was gonna be a problem, that is not usually a problem when I'm here at home, is getting these episodes edited and out every week. Here, that's all I'm doing. Out there, I'm doing that, I'm traveling, I'm trying to jump on calls, trying to edit at places that, the internet sucks. So getting everything out and done, I didn't realize the workflow was gonna be that bad. One thing that really helped was having assets that were ready for me. Finding music, having curated playlists on Uppbeat, finding B-roll. Actually, their stock footage came out while I was out there, and I was using that for some of the content I was making, which actually helped me hit deadlines. Get an episode out every week or a video out every single week. Huge, huge help. So please check them out. Link in the description, pin comment. All right, now I want to talk about things that broke. Oh my God. Things that just didn't go well. Scheduling remote podcast episodes while I'm in Asia. Usually here, it's great. I use Calendly, which is a great platform to use to schedule meetings, things, podcast episodes. But when I was there, the issue is, one, I'm in Asia. A lot of the people that I am interviewing remotely are from North America or Europe, and time zones is crazy. As I'm moving from time zone to time zone, I forget to change the time zone on Calendly. So now the schedule's all wrong, off by like an hour or 2. That's a big issue. So if you are ever out there doing that stuff, make sure, double check time zones. Second thing is locations. Finding locations to shoot in-person podcast episodes is crazy. I'm flying to a country, I don't get to scout any locations. So in Seoul, I recorded a podcast with Jimmy. That episode's out. I'll link that down below. So we walk around trying to find a place to set up. It is bright, it's hot. That episode is crazy because the sun is just in and out, in and out. Midway through, there's just like a gust of wind and just all this stuff flying around. The issue is that you don't get to pick locations. It's sometimes on the day of, and that was a big problem. Also, I realized that in certain countries, it's a lot easier to film. The culture in Seoul wasn't much, people filming. Wasn't a lot of influencers and things like that, as opposed to when I was in Bali. It was just easy. I met up with these creators and we were shooting in different places, and the staff, very easy. They're down with us shooting here, taking up the space and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very different. So when you guys are shooting, especially in-person stuff in different countries, always do your research. Make sure that, what's the culture like around filming? What's the culture like around filming in restaurants and in public spaces? That is huge. You gotta respect the place you're shooting at. Another thing is that when I'm shooting in-person podcast episodes, the files are a lot bigger than when I'm shooting remote. And when I say a lot bigger, I'm saying some clips are like 100 gigs, as opposed to if I'm editing remotely, the whole project is maybe 7 gigs. So editing that and syncing that up to Google Drive is kind of a nightmare. It's kind of a nightmare. I'm looking for coffee shops that have fast internet, some don't. So now I'm playing this game where it's like, does the Airbnb have better internet? Or, does this coffee shop have better internet? Jumping around and doing all that, what a crazy waste of time. On top of editing that, now uploading it, sometimes you're sitting in a coffee shop for hours, just getting things uploaded and sent off. That's something that you also have to deal with. So those were the 3 biggest problems I came across: the scheduling, the locations, and honestly, just the internet is not consistent when you're traveling. Expect to be internet hunting or internet speed hunting in these places. All right, so what are the different things I'm taking away from this whole experience? One is I actually enjoy having a minimal setup. I think staying minimal, especially doing episodes here in Toronto, I might just keep it to my laptop and the camera and just edit like that as well. Because I want to travel next year, I have to get used to not having all the gear in the world, which is, obviously a huge benefit. But if I want to be mobile, if I want to do this full time, if I want to travel across the world and do episodes, it might take some getting used to, but having a minimal setup is the best. One thing I realized that was different when I was out there is that when I'm editing, even going from an Airbnb to like a coffee shop, I get way more work done. The focus, everything is just efficient. Now that I'm back home, I'm starting to edit, and there's these little things like, oh, a package came to the door. Cool, I'm going up there. All right, cool. I want coffee. I'll make myself coffee. I'm on my phone a lot more. There's a lot more distractions when I'm at home. So what I'm trying to do more of is take a couple days a week where I go out to different places, coffee shops, libraries, anywhere that I can actually do work that I won't get distracted. Because when I was out there, it felt like I had zero space to be comfortable, but that made me more efficient. So that's a big thing. Location when I'm editing is a huge thing that I want to change, because at least a couple days a week, because there's just a lot more distractions when I'm at home. So that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to show you guys about running an actual podcast on the road, or like the problems that you run into. It's crazy, but super worth it. So a lot of the episodes that are coming out now are the ones that I did shoot in Asia, and they're just a whole new life to them. So I'm gonna link the channel down below if you guys want to check those out. They'll be coming out over the next month or 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions about running a podcast remotely, running a podcast while you're traveling, please comment down below. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.